All right, let's talk about one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make, buying a home. I know, it sounds intimidating, right? But forget all that stress. We're going to break it down, step by step, and turn this whole thing into a super clear, manageable roadmap.
I mean, who doesn't dream of owning their own place? It's the classic dream. But let's be honest, when you actually start thinking about the process, it can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. Kind of like you're standing at the bottom of a huge mountain with no map, just wondering, where do I even begin?
So here's the first thing you need to know, and it's a big one. Your journey doesn't start with scrolling through listings or going to open houses. Nope. The real first step, it's a lot closer to home. It starts with you, taking a good, hard look at your own finances. Okay, so let's dive into step 1, getting your finances ready. This is all about assessing what you have and what you owe, getting a really crystal clear picture of your financial health before you even think about talking to a bank. Now, I know a worksheet like this can look a little intimidating, but trust me, it simplifies a kind of scary concept, your net worth. Just think of it like a balance scale for your money. On one side, you list everything you own, your cash, your car, any investments. Then on the other side, you list everything you owe, student loans, credit card debt. You subtract what you owe from what you own, and that number at the bottom, that's it. That's your starting point.
All right, so knowing your net worth is part 1. Part 2 is figuring out how much cash you actually have to work with. And a worksheet like this is so important because it forces you to think beyond just the down payment. See those lines for settlement expenses and moving costs? Yeah, those are the little things that can sneak up on you. This is how you find your real, true budget.
And of course, we have to talk about the big one, your credit score. Think of it as your financial report card. A high score doesn't just get you a yes from a lender. Oh no, it unlocks lower interest rates, which can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. It's a huge, huge deal.
Okay, so your finances are in order, you know what you can afford. Now it's time for the step that takes you from just being a window shopper to a serious buyer that sellers are going to notice.
Listen up, because this is so important. You have to know the difference between these two. Pre-qualification, that's just a rough estimate, a ballpark figure. But pre-approval, that's the real deal. It means a lender has dug into your finances and is giving you a firm commitment for a loan. It's a total game changer.
And really, here's the bottom line. In a hot market, a seller's market, showing up to make an offer without a pre-approval letter, well, it's like going to a job interview without your resume. Having that letter tells the seller you're not just dreaming, you've got the financial muscle to actually close the deal. It can shoot your offer right to the top of the pile.
All right, you've got that pre-approval letter in hand. Now comes the really fun part, the house hunt. But just because it's fun doesn't mean we throw strategy out the window. Nope. This part requires a super clear plan. So before you've even opened a single real estate app, you need a game plan. And this is where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. I want you to make 3 lists. First, your must-haves, the things you absolutely cannot live without. Then your nice-to-haves, and maybe the most important list of all, your deal breakers. Getting this clear in your head, it will save you so much time and stop you from falling in love with a house that's just not right for you. You've probably heard it a million times, but it is so true. Location, location, location. You can always change the paint color, right? But you can't change the neighborhood. So the strategy is to zoom in. Pick your town first. Then find the best neighborhood you can afford inside that town. And only then do you start looking at specific houses. And hey, here's a pro tip for you. Try to avoid the fanciest, most over-the-top house on the block. It might look amazing, but it has way less room to grow in value, which can make it a much tougher sell when it's your turn to move.
Okay, you've done all the prep work, you found the one, now it's time to make it yours. This is where having a good strategy and being decisive is really going to pay off.
Now your offer is more than just a number. It starts with something called earnest money. Think of this as your financial handshake. It's a deposit you put down to show the seller, hey, I'm serious about this. It's held safely in a neutral account, and here's the thing. In a bidding war, a larger earnest money check can sometimes be the little detail that makes your offer stand out from the rest.
Making an offer is almost never a one-and-done kind of thing. It's more like a dance. You put in your offer, the seller might come back with a counteroffer, maybe changing the price or some other terms, and you go back and forth. You negotiate until you both reach an agreement you can sign off on, that's your ratified contract, or you decide, you know what, it's time to walk away. Yes, you did it. Your offer was accepted. You are in the home stretch now, but don't start celebrating just yet. There are a few super important final steps before you actually get those keys in your hand. This is what we call the closing process.
Okay, this next part is basically your safety net. It's called title insurance. See, every property has a history, a long one. And sometimes that history has, well, baggage. We're talking unpaid loans from a previous owner, maybe a forged signature on a deed from way back when. This one-time fee protects you and makes sure that the home is 100% yours, so someone else's old problems don't become your new nightmare.
And at last, you get to the closing table. You're going to sign what feels like a mountain of paperwork, and you'll pay your closing costs. This example here gives you a really good idea of what those look like. You'll see things like the lender's loan fee, the property survey, title insurance. It's a bunch of little things that, yeah, they do add up to a pretty big final bill for both you and the seller.
But once all those documents are signed and the money has been transferred, that's it. It's done. The keys are officially yours. Congratulations, you're a homeowner. But hey, getting the keys isn't really the end of the road. It's the beginning of a whole new journey. Because you haven't just bought a house, you've bought a really powerful financial asset. Which brings us to the next big question. How do you turn that asset from just a place to live into a home sweet tax shelter? Now that is where the real power of ownership truly begins.